Hello and welcome to another budget PVM challenge. This is the series where I have a limited budget to buy all of my armor, weapons, perks and abilities and take on various bosses throughout the game. Today's boss is Solak and the budget is 500 mil. I did originally try this with a much lower budget, but I failed miserably. This is a much harder boss than I realized, and so in order to do this boss, I had to keep adding to the budget. My strategy is to use Cinderbane gloves and big arrows and let poison do most of the work. However, I found that there's quite a few instances during this fight where there's some pretty hefty DPS checks. This is where I have to do a certain amount of damage in a limited amount of time, and I can't get carried by the poison in these instances. So for that reason, I had to upgrade to a decimation, which was a big cost. I also had to use the storm shards and shatter ability, and survivability was also a problem, so I went with an amulet of souls, which on its own cost an extra 80 mil. So at this point, I decided to just make the budget 500 mil, because it's a nice even number. And for what's considered to be the hardest solo boss in the entire game, without including Enrage, I think 500 mil is still a very low budget. I'll put a list on screen of how I spent the budget, and this did take me quite a few tries to get this, so I'm going to have post commentary instead of live commentary, although there is a bit of live commentary at the end. So even with this increased budget, I still found that dealing with the arms and legs on phase 1 was quite a big problem. You have very limited time to kill both of these, and poison isn't really helping me that much because all of the big stacks are on the main boss, not on the arms or the legs. And so most of the kills were actually lost during this part of the fight. I would fail it and just teleport out and retry. Now, after a couple of hours of attempts, I was able to get through this phase a little bit more consistently. Another problem that I ran into was I wasn't able to one cycle the core. I'm so far off being able to get that, but a 2 cycle is somewhat reasonable with this setup, because the way you finish phase 1 is by killing the core, and you only have about, I think it's 18 seconds to damage the core when it comes out, and you have to do 125k damage in that time. Now I can do this in 2 cycles and it's not too bad. Now if I wasn't able to reach the phase HP, which is 1.5 million, by the time the bomb comes out after the second set of pads, then I would have to go round and kill a second set of roots. But if I was able to do enough damage, I could essentially skip the roots and go straight back to the arms and legs. And this was quite a big time save and did become more consistent the more attempts that I did. So the next thing that I had to bear in mind was maintaining the big stacks on the boss. So during the time where I'm fighting the roots, where I'm fighting the arms and legs, fighting the core, even fighting the elf on phase 3, there are opportunities where the big stacks can get fully cleared from the boss. And that's going to massively decrease the amount of damage that I'm doing, because after 30 seconds of not attacking the boss with a big arrow, all of the stacks will be lost, and I'll have to build them up again from zero. And I don't have things like greater ricochet to increase them stacks quicker. So the way around this is, during the roots, I would just tag the boss every 3rd route or so, and during the arms and legs, well, I would swap to my full arrows to increase the amount of damage I'm doing, but then I would have to then switch back to the big arrows and use a ricochet. Now this ricochet will hit both arms or both legs depending on which ones are out, but then the 3rd hit will hit the main boss and refresh those stacks even though it did no damage. And then I could swap back to the full arrows to increase my damage on the more powerful hitting abilities. And this was the same for the core. I would have to swap to the big arrows and use a ricochet and then back to the full arrows. It was a little bit tricky, but in the end I got this down and was able to maintain stacks. Now one more issue that I did find is I made it all the way to the end of the boss and my Blood Reaver died. Now if you didn't know, when using a poison setup, the Blood Reaver is extremely important because every time I heal, whether it be with Soul Split or the Vampirism aura, the Blood Reaver will do an additional hit. This essentially means I could get a heal from Soul Split, a heal from Vampirism. For every single hit that I do, the Blood Reaver will do 2 additional hits. And each one of these extra hits that the Blood Reaver is doing has a chance of activating poison. And that's why you see so many poison hits with a Blood Reaver setup. With the Blood Reaver dying, I essentially cut my damage down by a third. And I also kept forgetting to stack storm shards because it's not something I usually do, and so I couldn't use shatter at the end. If you're not sure how storm shards works, you're essentially storing damage up, and you can stack up to 10 shards, and then you use shatter, and that releases all of that damage in a single hit. And you'll see a damage hit of up to 30,000. And when you have to deal 200,000 damage on the final phase, getting a single hit of 30,000 is extremely important when you're against the clock. After all of these setbacks and a lot of practice tries, I finally got a decent run. So here we go. So I begin the fight and immediately use my Death Swiftness and Adrenaline Renewal. Now I'm sticking my bleeds on the boss because bleeds, even though they don't add stacks for each hit, they still do activate poison, and even at this low amount of stacks, it's doing a decent amount of damage. So basically what I'm doing here is building up my stacks as much as possible, and then I resonance the bomb there. It's quite a tight window to time that, but after my Death Swiftness is over, I then focus my attention on the roots around the arena. There's 8 of these roots in total, so I just go around and kill each one of them, because if I don't kill them, the lashes will come out, and they deal a lot of damage and will most likely kill me. But also try and tag the boss every now and then just to refresh those big stacks. Now at this point the roots come out, but I can just simply dive away from them. If I time it correct, I don't have to take any damage from those. So once all of the roots are dead, I then focus my attention back on the boss. And again, the goal is to just deal as much damage as possible here, whilst also increasing my big stacks. I try and soul split flick, but the timing can be a little bit weird here because he changes his attack speed at times. But you can see the poison damage now is starting to do 2000s. It's already ramping up and becoming quite powerful. I'm also stacking shards if I remember. So at this point in the fight, I now have to focus my attention on Solak's arms. So I swapped my full arrows here just to get a little bit of extra damage. And then I'm using my thresholds just to deal with the arms. I swap back to my big arrows and use a ricochet every now and then, just to refresh the stacks on the main boss. But yeah, if you can see the orange bar charging up on the arms and legs, once that fully charges, if I've not killed them by then I fail and I basically have to just teleport out and try again. The Scripture of Wind does help here as well. It does about 7,000 damage every time that goes off, so it's quite helpful. Anyway, I then focus my attention on the core. And here I'm inside my Death Swiftness, and I'm just doing my most powerful hitting abilities with the full arrows. I do have to switch back to the big arrows to use a ricochet, and then back to the full arrows. And I managed to get it down to 46,000 health. So not too bad. I should easily be able to do that during the next cycle. So now the goal is to get the boss's health down to 1.5 million, and hopefully I can do this before the bomb attack comes out. So first of all, he's going to do pads, and then he will charge a bomb after that. Here we can see the pad comes out. I choose to stand on this one this time because I don't have a VIP pot available. And the bomb is charging on me, but I just managed to get it down to 1.5 million health. And you can see it goes straight into the next phase. The next set of roots do not spawn. And once again, I have to kill both arms, followed by both legs, and then I can finish off the core. You might also notice that my Blood Reaver is on 14,000 health here, instead of 20,000. That's because every time I use one of the scrolls, it takes 1,000 of its life points and gives them to me. So I'm basically just comboing that with my blue blubbers and Thorodome in Bruise, and then it allows me to survive a little bit easier. But yeah, I just need to be careful not to use more than 20 scrolls, because then the Blood Reaver will die, and I lose a third of my poison damage. Now here was a little bit tight. I nearly didn't get that, but I did get it, and I was able to then go onto the core. Now, I didn't have my Death Swiftness up here because, well, I'm not really sure what happened. I just kind of had to use more thresholds on the arms and legs to make sure that I phased it. I didn't quite have time to get my Death Swiftness up. It didn't matter, I finished it up anyway. So here I focus my attention on one of the animate eruptions. I clear my blight stacks and then go up in the eruption. Now it's just spam click the ball, and this will do more damage the less blight stacks that you have. So I had one stack there, so I was doing 9,000. Each stack I have will reduce that damage by 1,000. Anyway, then just kill the next eruption. Again, I'm attacking solak with the big arrows just to make sure that the stacks don't deplete. I still have 200% extra poison damage right now because I was able to maintain those stacks during the arm phase. So again, I just kill the eruptions now. I don't need to go up a third time. 2 times should be enough. The storm does naturally deplete anyway. So even if I don't kill it within them 2 times, it will just basically kill itself. And there we go. And so now I just stand in this corner, or stand in the north little cubby hole, and I'm doing as much damage as I can to the boss. So the point of this phase is you basically have to avoid these bombs, and if I stand right here, there's a good chance that none of these bombs will even hit me. Again, at this point I'm up to 7 stacks of my storm shards, so it's pretty good. I probably could leave it at that, but I might as well get it to 10. And also the poison damage is up to 278%. So now you're seeing the poison hitting 4,000s. I'm taking quite a bit of damage here, so I'm just eating through it. I'm trying to soul split flick as much as I can. But it is quite tricky when there's a lot going on. So here I put the yellow shield down, and that's going to protect me, mostly protect me from the blight attacks that you're seeing. And I run out of the shield, and Resonance, one of them, heals me a 7.3k. Again, the timing on that is a little bit awkward, but I was able to get it. So now I have to avoid his slam attack and then run up his arm. But during this phase you can still attack if you manually cast abilities. And he's going to do a big hit on me now. But I basically just vit pot that and survive it. Wasn't really a big deal. So the way you get to the next phase is to get the purple bar down to 0%. And you do a lot more damage to the purple bar once you reach its HP cap of 800,000. At this point I'm at 31 stacks of the blight, so I choose to cleanse myself here. So just stand in this green circle, and then that's going to reduce the amount of damage that I'm receiving. So now the goal is to charge one of the pads, and that will allow me to go into the realm and kill the elf. I don't want to kill the elf until the boss is down to 200,000 life points. So what I do is I just charge the first pad and go in and deal enough damage to where I could kill it on the second time round. But I don't want to kill it right here. So I'm not going to do too much, just a couple of thresholds. It's important to note that I can't actually heal in here, and I just panicked 8 because I took a load of damage and it just healed 0. Now here my Blood Reaver is on 2,000, so I'm being very careful not to use any scrolls this time, like I did in the past. The big stacks are up to 400% now. You saw a 6,000 poison hit. That's pretty much the most I'm going to do here. Most of them will be around, I don't know, 4 or 5Ks. But you will see the occasional 6,000s. And this is why the poison build is so strong. Once you get these stacks up, poison just does so much damage. And a lot of that is down to the Blood Reaver, which is why it's important that I don't kill him. So yeah, here, I chose to cleanse again because the stacks were getting up a little bit. I'm getting low on food. And I'm just trying to get his health down to 200,000. And then I'll charge the next pad and kill the elf. The elf is the purple bar, or the pink bar that you can see underneath his health bar, which he currently has about 30,000 life points left. So here I start charging another pad, and that's going to allow me to get back into the realm. So I'm at 400% poison damage, and I have 10 shards stacked upon him. Now I go and kill Erifdor, which is what we call the elf, and proceed on to the final phase. I'll go to live commentary now, though. Alright, final phase. I've got 10 shards on, so I should be good here. Alright, I think I'll snapshot first. Oh my god, I'm messing up so bad. Oh, this is terrible. I didn't get my dead shot off. There we go. Oh, I should have saved my shatter, I think. Do I wrath? Oh my god, I got it! 500! I can't believe it! No way! I got it. The purple bar had 500 health left. That's so lucky. But yeah, there we go. 11 minutes 31. That's honestly not a bad kill time, to be fair. It was a 2 cycle, which I'm pretty happy with. Let's see what drop I get. Can I get a Blightbound crossbow? No! Are you kidding me? No! Oh, no! No! Why? Why would you do this? Oh, okay, that is ridiculous. I need to explain this. It's a good drop. Oh my god. 218 mil. Okay, it's a good drop. I'll show the kill count. That is my first kill. Where's Solak? Okay, there we go. Yeah. 1 kill count and a grimoire. So I'm going to explain why I'm annoyed by this. So on my Iron Man account, it took me 540 kill count to get one of these. And when I was going for it, I was using the FSOA, which very much requires one of these grimoires. I'll show the Iron Man account kill count now. Okay, so I'm on the Iron Man now. And we'll go to Solak. I'm at 603 kills on here. And yeah, I've had 1 Blightbound and 1 Grimoire. I've also had 1 Purple Mushroom and 2 Staff Overrides. I've not had the offhand yet, but yeah, the Grimoire was 540 kill count. And this was when I was using the FSOA when I was going for this. So I was desperate to get one of these, and it just would not drop. It took so long. That is why I'm actually quite annoyed that I just got it on 1 kill count, but it is what it is. That was a 500 mil budget Solak kill. No greater ricochet, so that would have helped a lot. I definitely missed that. And yeah, I guess thanks for watching. See you in the next one.